Hello everyone, you're welcome once again to my YouTube channel. My name is Bola. If today is your first time here, you are highly welcome. And to all my subscribers, thank you, I really appreciate you. Thank you for always taking out time to watch my videos. I am not taking it for granted. Thank you, God bless you all. In today's tutorial, we'll be making this beautiful design. It's a corset blouse with a yoke. A corset blouse with a yoke. I'm actually making this for a plus size person, so I'm using the bust measurement of 48, bust 48, the waist of 46. It's very simple and very easy to make. So I'm going to show you how I arrive at this beautiful design. Let's hit the cutting table. Thank you. So I have my pattern paper folded on the table, and that's the measurement I'm working with: bust 48, under bust 42 inches, and waist 46 inches. That's the beautiful fabric I'll be working with. The first thing I'll be doing is to take my shoulder measurements. I already have my lines ruled out: the shoulder line, the bust line, the under bust line, and the waist line. So I'll be determining my shoulder measurements. The shoulder measurement I'm working with is 16 inches. 16 into 2 will give me 8. So I'll be adding ½ inch to it for the sewing allowance. So from the 8.5 inch, I'll determine my armhole. The armhole of 9 inches. Armhole of 9 inches. So I'm going to connect both points to make a straight line. So having connected the lines now, that will now serve as my chest line. I'm going to make that now my chest line. The next thing I'll be doing now is to determine my neck design. The neck design I'll be working with, I'll be making use of 5 inches width, 5 inches width, and the depth of 3.5. So I'll connect both points now to form my neck design. Next thing now is to determine my shoulder slope. I'll be dropping my shoulder by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. Having done that, I'll move over to the body to determine my bust span. The bust span is the distance between one bust to another. The bust span I'm working with is 5 inches. I'm working with bust span of 5 inches because I'm making for a plus size. The bust I'm working with is 48. So from one distance to another is 5 inches. So I will note the 5 inches on all the lines, and I will connect together to make a straight line. So I'll move over to the bust line. I will go by 1 inch below the bust line. I'll move over to the bust line. I will go down 1 inch, and also I'll be going up 1 inch. I will go over to the under bust line to take out my darts. I will be taking 1 inch on both sides. On the under bust line, I'll be taking 1 inch. The next thing to do now is to connect the lines. Having connected the lines, I will then connect it to the 1 inch underneath the bust line. So from there, we'll be determining the distance between the bust line to our under bust line. We'll be noting the distance between the bust line to our under bust line to form our radius. The distance between my bust line to my under bust line is 3.5. So I'm going to note the 3.5 round the bust area. From the bust line, I'll be noting 3.5 around, just as I am doing it. Your distance between the bust line and the under bust line may differ from mine. Just note the distance between your bust line to the under bust line. So you are going to determine that round the bust line, just as I am doing it to form the radius. Having done that, you will then connect to make your circle. You will connect the dotted points into a circle. And once again, if you are yet to subscribe to my channel, kindly click on the subscribe button. I really appreciate that. All right. Now our circle is formed. This is not actually our corset. This is just to is forming the basis in which we'll be determining our corsets. The circle will serve as a guide for us to determine our corsets. The next thing we'll be doing now is to move over to the mid part of the blouse. We'll move over to the mid parts of the blouse. I'll be noting 1 inch. I'll be taking 1 inch away from the mid part of the blouse. This line is serving as a guide as well, because I want my corset to stop at 1 inch away from my mid part of the blouse. So I'll be noting down 1 inch. I'll make it into a straight line, so my corset will not be extending outside that line. I haven't made the line. You can decide to go up by 1 inch or 2 inches, depending on where you want your yoke to stop. So I'll be going up 2 inches. That will also serve as a guide from where I want my yoke to start from. It will serve as a guide to where I'll be cutting out my yoke. Then the next thing I'll be doing now is to move over to the upper part of the circle we've made. I'll be going up by 1 inch. You can decide to leave yours at that point, but I want mine to still go up by 1 inch. So I'll take down 1 inch around. So I'm going to blend it up into the armhole area. I will also take it, I'll blend it into the 1 inch line I've made. Just watch as I am doing it. So I'll blend it up into the armhole line. So I'll move over to the underbust line. I will then connect to the line. That way I will connect it to that point. I'll be connecting the underbust circle that I've made. So it will meet at the new line for the upper circle. Just let me put it that way. Okay. Just like that. Because we all know that our bust is usually fuller at the armhole area. The bust is usually fuller at the armhole area. So I'll be extending by 2 inches. I will be extending towards the armhole area by 2 inches. So I will also connect that to the lower part of the circle we have made. So this is now our corset. We are not done yet. We'll take our dart now at the upper part. So I'll be extending the line to the new area we have made. So I'll be taking our dart for the upper part. Just as we have taken 1 inch on the under bust line, I'll be taking 1 inch as well at the upper part. So we'll then be connecting to the 1 inch above the bust line. We'll be connecting the line to the 1 inch above the bust line. So the next thing we'll be doing now is to blend, because we don't want a sharp edge. We are going to blend into a curve, just so. So that is now the corset. So I will then insert my circumference measurements. The bust I'm working with is 48 inches. 48 divided by 4 will give me 12. I'll be noting 12 inches. Then I'll be replacing the darts we took out. We'll be replacing it. The 2 inches that we took out. We'll replace that. Then we'll add our sewing allowance. I'll be using 3 inches sewing allowance. So I'll be adding 3 inches for the sewing allowance. I'll do that also on the bust line. I will take the bust measurements. I'll move over to the under bust line. I will take out my under bust measurements as well. I will also replace the 2 inches darts. I will replace the 2 inches darts. I will also add my sewing allowance. I will also add the 3 inches sewing allowance. So in all, the allowances I'll be using is 5 inches. I'll move over to the waistline. I will do same also on the waistline. I will insert my waist measurements, replace the 2 inches darts, and also add my 3 inches sewing allowance. I will then connect my points together. I'll connect the points. So the next thing we'll be doing now is to move over to the armhole, and we are going to insert our armhole. On the armhole line, we will determine the midpoint. We'll go in by 0.25 for the front armhole. We'll be going in by 0.25 just to deepen it a little bit. Then we would connect our armhole. After connecting the armhole, we'll then cut out. So I'm going to cut. Before I cut out, I will note each side. So when cutting on my fabric, I won't make mistake. I'm going to label each piece. After cutting it out, you can see that I label it, and this is the outcome of the blouse. When cutting on my fabrics, I'm going to add 0.5 inch on the fabric. I will be increasing my fabric by 0.5. This will give room for the sewing allowance so that I won't fall shortage of fabrics when joining the piece together.